Hi, everybody. I'm Megan Burney-Rudert. I'm the Executive Director of Unite to Light, and I'm joined by Jeremy Favier. And we are going to talk a little bit about solar and storage today. You want to do the next one?
Yep.
Awesome. So just kind of wanted to talk about why the two of us are here today. We're really excited to partner. We share these core values about making energy accessible to everybody and to really impacting not just our communities, but things like climate change around the world. I was at the Bill McKibben lecture last night, and I think it was something like the US has 4% of the world population and 30% of our climate emissions. So anything that we can do to reduce those emissions really helps everyone around the globe. Our actions here do matter. It also matters here locally because access to electricity is not as regular as we want, right? Edison turns off and PG&E turn off our power grid, and we want to have more reliable power. And so we're really excited to partner with Brighten to impact not just our communities here on the Central Coast, but really communities worldwide.
Sorry.
And just really quick, I wanted to just mention a couple things. I'll keep it pretty high level. We do have a new product at Unite to Light, the Haven Lantern, which you see pictured there. And I'll just, it's actually super cool. We're really excited. So the big thing is that this is a room light. It's very bright. We just love this product. If you want to see it in person and you're going to be at Earth Day this weekend, Brighten Solar will have our products and even a chance to win our products if you want to start by their booth in the Green Car Show, and we'll be there on Sunday ourselves. The other thing I wanted to mention is we do have a symposium on May 15th. It is in Santa Barbara, but also will be available virtually. And if you got this email from us, you'll definitely be getting that email for us. And we'd love to have everybody join. It's in celebration of the International Day of Light. We'll have panel discussions on power for gender, health, and equity. Innovation and impact, and then also California's clean energy landscape. So we're really excited to welcome everybody. We'll also have a series of impact partner talks from Solar Sister, UNFPA, Direct Relief, World Central Kitchen. So yeah, we're just really excited to have everybody join us on the 15th and hope you can register. And with that, I just want to do one other thing is just thank Brighten Solar. They are our solar partner for International Day of Light, but more than that, they've been an ongoing partner for Unite to Light for many, many years. One of the things that we love that they do is that for every install that Brighten Solar does, they give a Chandler charger to their clients, and then they donate a light for us to give to somebody in need. And then for every member of this community that goes solar, Brighten will make a donation to Unite to Light so we can even further that impact. And then again, they are our sponsoring our International Day of Light in May. So just really excited to be able to partner with Brighten and deepen the impact across the globe. And with that, I will turn it over to Jeremy.
Thank you so much, Megan. It's really a pleasure to be here today and to partner with you guys with such an inspiring mission. My name is Jeremy Favier. I'm the co-founder and COO of Brighten Solar. And the goal today is really, it's really learning to talk about the challenges that we are facing in our community, how solar and battery systems are working, and what do we see in the energy market, in the energy landscape, what are the changes that we see. So we are going to talk about this. You have the opportunity to ask any questions in the chat. We are going to spend some time at the end to review those questions and to go through them, so please don't hesitate to do that throughout the presentation. Okay, energy access is not guaranteed. It's not just for faraway countries. It happens also here in the Central Coast of California. Our communities are facing challenges and the energy market is more and more unstable. From global chain supply that are more and more unstable, from geopolitical tensions that are happening and changing how the markets are moving, and also the local grids. All of us have experienced power outages in our community, and we want to go through that and show you how you can react and adapt to this and compensate for that. Energy resilience at home is no longer a luxury, it's fundamental. Yes, indeed. Okay, so moving away from gas is critical. We need to reduce our gas emission. Megan was mentioning at the beginning, like how much carbon we are emitting as a country in the US, way more than just the percentage of world population that we are representing. Even inside our houses, when we have gas appliances, we have the risk of releasing NOx and carbon monoxides. Those gases are highly toxic. You don't see them, you don't smell them, you don't notice them, but they can kill you. So it's very important that as a country, as a state, we are moving away from that and we are removing those toxic elements from our houses. Energy efficiency, we see that clean energy is more efficient. The cost of clean energy is declining. The cost of gas is highly dependent on geopolitical events on the global market. So it's also very important to stay away from that. And this is not necessarily fossil fuels that we can generate in our own country. We are relying on other countries to do that. So it helps with our independence and resiliency if we keep that in-house. We have a supply problem. So the grid is unreliable and we have data to share with you guys. What we see is that in Santa Barbara and specifically, we have more than 50% more power outages than in the rest of California. Our area is very prone to power outages. We have an aging technology for our grid. There is heavy maintenance, there is upgrades that are happening all the time, but without that, the grid is definitely overstressed. This graph here is really showing the situation. In blue, right there, this is the line of demarcation between SCE territory on the right and PG&E territory on the left. In both cases, we are at the end of the line for PG&E and Edison. Here we are really showing Edison power lines, and we see that Santa Barbara is fed by one substation, the Goleta substation. And we have 40 miles of line right there, which is going through high fire zone, mudslide zone, and earthquake zone. So if anything happens along this line, we are out of power for weeks, potentially months. So we are a very vulnerable community in this regard. What we see with the utility rates are increasing. We see a 101% increase in Edison territory, a 76% increase in PG&E territory for the last 10 years. And last October, the CPUC, California Public Utility Commission, has approved a 13% rate increase on Edison territory. This is not unusual. 10% plus annual increase in the price of electricity is what we have been facing for the last few years and what we are going to be facing for the years to come. What we see is that the utilities have a guaranteed 9% return on every dollar that they're investing on the infrastructure. So they have a strong incentive in investing in that. And it shows in their net income. Last year, Edison alone made $4.4 billion in revenues. That's 245% increase compared to 2024. All of that, or most of it, is coming from this spending on infrastructure that you see on the electric bill and that you see on the increase in the electric bill. Okay, so the challenge of home electrification, because not everything is easy to implement. Energy access. It can only be effective if the source of electricity is reliable. If you electrify your house with electricity, of course, but the access to electricity is not that secured, it's not going to do any good for you. Higher energy costs, we just seen that electricity is getting more and more expensive. So having a way to mitigate those increase of electricity costs is very important. We see that electrifying and having more people tapping into the grid is putting more stress on the grid, which is already stressed. The AI advancement, people installing data center is another huge concern for the grid. Cleaner only the sources, of course. Right now, sources of electricity are not necessarily clean. Most of them are coming from fossil fuel. So it's great to have more electricity in your house, but if it's generated by more fossil fuel consumption, it's not doing much great. Lack of resilience, we see that the line that is powering our community is very prone to power outages, and it's in a zone where power outages can happen at any time. So we think that solar and batteries are the solution, and we are going to show you why. Just briefly, I want to talk about how solar works. I'm not going to bore you with any technical details, but basically the sun, is hitting solar panels and generating electricity. But that electricity is what we call DC, direct current. And this is not the same type of electricity that you can use inside your house. Inside your house, you're using AC, alternative current. So in between the solar system and the house, we need to install something that we call an inverter. That's the number 2 here. And just for the sake of making it easier to understand, we showed it on the side of a house here, but it's very much possible to install those devices in the back of every single inverter, say every single of solar panels on the roof. Once the electricity is inverted and transformed into AC, then it enters into your home electrical system and can power any sort of appliance inside the house. The excess electricity goes back to the grid through your meter that is running backwards. How solar and battery works together. So as we've seen before, the solar system is receiving sun rays and producing electricity. We are going into an inverter that is connected to your home appliances through the main panel. If it goes backwards because there is some excess electricity, it goes through the meter and through the grid. Here comes a battery that comes in between all of that. So the way it works is that when the solar system is producing electricity, first it's going to power any sort of appliance that is running inside your house. Then it's going to charge the electricity, then it's going to charge the battery. It can do that in parallel if the solar system is producing more than what the house is consuming. Once the battery is fully charged, once all the appliances inside your house are receiving enough electricity, the excess goes back to the grid through the meter. When a power outage happens, the grid doesn't exist anymore. The system is completely independent from the rest of the world. So in that case, a solar system is continuing to produce electricity if a power outage happens during the day and power the house, continues to charge the battery if the battery is not full. If the battery is full, basically the solar system is going to adapt its production to match what the house is consuming. At night, the solar system doesn't produce, of course, but the battery continues to produce and continues to power any loads that are available inside your house. And this is how it goes. The next day, the sun is shining. If the power outage continues, the solar system is going to replenish the battery, and the cycle goes on and on and on. Resilience. So batteries are providing backup during the power outages, so you can continue to run your appliances and have electricity for lights, to watch TV, for the food in your fridge or your freezer, for any sort of usage you want to have with your electricity. It's predictable. It allows you to have control over your electricity. With most systems, you have an app where you can see how much you're consuming in real time, how much the solar system is producing, how much the batteries have stored, have in their bank, and you can adapt your consumption, you can adapt your lifestyle based on what's going on with your system. So you have full control over all of that. It helps you with cost optimization as well. Edison or any utility actually is charging you more between 4 to 9 p.m. or 5 to 8, depending on your rate. But basically, any utility company at the end of the day is charging you more for the cost of electricity. With batteries, you can mitigate that because at the end of the day, between 4 to 9 p.m., for example, the solar system doesn't produce that much electricity, but that's when the bulk of your consumption is happening. Most people are coming back from work, the sun is going down, so you turn on lights, you start cooking, you turn on the TV, you start doing a lot of stuff and live your life. And so that's when you're consuming most of your electricity. And that's when electricity is the most expensive. So having a battery or batteries help you use that stored electricity within the battery to power your house and avoid those high cost of electricity. Environmental benefits, if you're using your solar system and store the excess electricity from your solar system into batteries and use those batteries at night, it prevents you from using electricity that may be produced by fossil fuels somewhere else. So that's also helping you with the environmental impact of your house. Here is kind of what I was talking about. So in blue, we can see the pattern of consumption of a typical house. In the morning, you're waking up, you start to use appliances, the solar system is barely starting, we see it in yellow over here. So you have consumption in the morning, same thing at the end of the day, you turn on lights, you cook, you turn on TV, you live your life, but the solar system is winding down. What we see in green at the bottom is only the portion that is of electricity that you are consuming and that is coming directly from the solar system. The rest over here is potentially going back to the grid. And you see that there is a discrepancy between when you are producing electricity and when you are consuming most of it. And that's where battery really comes to play. You can store that electricity into batteries and use it during those peaks that you see at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day. This is a picture of what a battery system can look like. It can be installed outside, it can be installed inside the garages. There is plenty of configuration that we can do. To maximize really how to use those batteries, to maximize the savings, but also the resiliency, it's important to prioritize self-consumption. We understand that not all appliances can be used at any time of the day, but some can. And the biggest one can be sometimes. If you work at home or if your electric car is charging at home, you can prioritize charging your electric car in the middle of the day when the sun is shining. So this way, you're using the direct energy from the solar system to power your car. That can have an impact on your electric bill and on your overall consumption as well. Laundry is the same thing. If you're doing laundry in the middle of the day, that's better than at night. And same thing with the heat pump. You can see a heat pump warming up or cooling your house as a sort of a thermal battery. If you run it mostly during the day, I know it's not necessarily when you're home, but you can use the house as a thermal battery. Same thing with heat pump water heater. It's a great way to use that extra electricity that you are generating during the day to warm up water, keep it in a tank, and use it later in the day. You can store electricity, energy strategically, power your home at night or during peak utility. Yes, with solar batteries, we've talked about it multiple times in this presentation already. And if you have batteries and there is a power outage, you still have electricity thanks to electricity stored in those batteries. Not every batteries are made equal. Most manufacturers today and most people, if not or everybody, is using what we call lithium-ion technology. It's a special type of batteries, and that's what most people are using. The majority of batteries in the lithium-ion technology are using cobalt, nickel, and manganese. The reason why they are using those elements is because the density ratio of those batteries is better than other chemistry. The battery is smaller, there is more energy for the same footprint of battery when you're using cobalt, nickel, and manganese batteries. The problem with that, and that's what we see with ethics and safety right there, is that 70% of the world cobalt is mined in Congo in operation that are, for the most part, less than ethical. Some of them are using kids to even mine that cobalt, so it's highly concerning. Lithium ferrophosphate batteries are the type of lithium-ion batteries that we are using at Brighten. They are called LFP. Ferrous stands for iron. and they are much more sustainable. They are 100% recyclable. There is no risk of fire compared to cobalt batteries, and they are requiring way less cooling. It's overall a way better product. And what we see in the market is that more and more manufacturers are actually going in that direction. So nowadays, most of the batteries that you can purchase are LFP batteries, which is a very, very good sign. The changing landscape, yes, what's happening? So there is multiple ways to install solar panels and batteries and multiple ways to pay for it or to finance it. What most people are doing in our community is what we call a cash purchase or loan. So you own the system from day one in that case. You can use a loan to finance it, but you still use it, you still own it. And overall, over the lifetime of a system, this is where you're going to get the most savings. Now, the downside to that is if you don't take a loan or don't have access to a loan, you need to come up with the cash to purchase the system. And nowadays, in 2026, there is no more federal tax credit for solar system installed by a homeowner. At the same time, because it's your system, you're responsible for the maintenance. Now, there is other solution that we call third-party ownership. There is PPA and prepaid lease. The difference between PPA and prepaid lease is that in one case, you're paying for the energy generated. In the other case, you're renting the system. In both cases, you don't own the system. Somebody else owns the system. In a PPA, the solar system is generating electricity and you pay that owner, which is a financial company, you pay every month for the electricity that you are generating. There is no money down, so you can just sign a paper and you have a solar system and battery system installed at your house, but you need to pay them monthly for that service. The drawback to that is that you can see some price escalator in those cases. So the price of electricity may start lower than what you are paying your utility company right now, but it can increase over time and to the point where it's becoming very close to what you used to pay in electricity. And those financing partners may have some restrictions. They may monetize the energy that is stored within the batteries. You don't have full control on everything. Another difference between prepaid lease and PPA is that with a prepaid lease, instead of paying monthly for the electricity that you're going to generate, you're paying everything upfront for the lease. You're paying everything upfront like in a cash payment, but you have a discount because those financing companies, they can have access to federal tax credit, they can have access to accelerated depreciation. So they are passing along those extra savings that they are making and they are reducing the upfront cost for the system. But you still don't own the system. Somebody else owns the system and has access to that. So those solutions, PPA and prepaid lease, are great ways for people who don't want to spend the money up front or want to spend a reduced amount of money to get access to solar and batteries, but it doesn't offer the same flexibility that you have with cash purchase. At Brighten, we are offering both cash purchase, loan purchase, but also prepaid lease, because we understand that with the change in the tax code, with the end of the federal tax credit, prepaid lease can offer a strong incentive to go solar still. And if you have any questions about that, that's going to be something great to talk about at the end of the presentation. Solar always makes sense. We have this question all the time. We have people coming to us and telling us that, oh, I don't know if it makes sense anymore for whatever reason. What we see is that this is the best way to be resilient in your house. With solar and batteries, like we said before, you have access to power during a power outage. You control the cost of electricity. You are not reliant on the utility company that may change their rates, that may increase the cost of electricity outside of sun hours. With solar and batteries, you get rid of all of this. You get the control back. yeah, energy access is not guaranteed. We've seen that the grid in our community is fragile. Having batteries and solar is the best way to compensate for that. We have seen that the utility rates keep increasing. If you have solar and batteries, you take control of that. You're using your own electricity. You're still connected to the grid, but you don't depend on the grid that much anymore. And you're not at their will to increase the cost of energy for your house. Electrification is happening. More and more people are buying electric cars. More and more people are installing heat pumps, stovetop, electric stovetop, electric oven, heat pump, water heater. This is happening. And as more and more people are doing this, more and more people will need more and more electricity. That may drive the price of electricity up. The stress on the grid is going to increase. The risk of power outages is going to increase as well. Solar and batteries is the best option for those changes. And what we have seen is that for people who don't necessarily have the means to go solar, there is some financing options to go there, of people who regret not to have taken advantage of a federal tax credit when it was still there. There is still option to monetize that.
Jeremy, before you move on,
Yes.
before I was at Unite to Light, I worked for the Community
Mhm.
Environmental Council, and I
Yes.
helped people go solar for over 10 years, and that was, almost, between 10 and 20 years ago. And I will always remember when I started, people saying, well, I'm not sure if solar makes sense now. I'm gonna wait. But then some people did go solar, and everyone I have ever talked to after going solar, nobody's ever regretted it.
Of course.
And with the price escalations that we see from the utilities, people who thought they'd have a 4-year payback or a 10-year payback or a 15-year payback on their solar saw that just drastically cut in half. And the number of people that to this day come up to me and are like, I'm so glad I went solar when I did. And I'm
Mhm.
so glad, that line, it's like, it will always be the right time for solar. Yeah, so I just love that. And
Yeah.
I think that's true.
No, thank you, Megan. You're absolutely right. And those people, when they install the solar system, they were expecting a 4% rate increase year over year of the cost of electricity. And what we have seen is that now we are at 10%. What will it be 2 years from now? What will it be next year? We don't know. Like, there is so many things happening in the world, so many global events in the world. AI is a huge factor. No one knows how it's going to impact the cost of electricity. So when we are doing projections on the cost of electricity now, we are using 10%, but just this year it's 13%. So this is a huge factor that people don't necessarily perceive upfront, but when you go solar, all of a sudden you see that. And yeah, like you said, no one is regretting that. I have never seen that. Why choosing a local companies? There is different types of companies. There is national companies, there is local companies, and we think that you should strongly consider local companies for multiple reasons. First one, we are part of a community. We are experiencing the same thing we are experiencing. We are there with you guys. Um, because we are part of a community and it's a small community and we love this community, we are committed to provide you the best experience. And we are here. Like if something happens, and something may happen with a battery that needs some maintenance, some repair, something changes, we are here. We can come. We are not like from hundreds of miles away. It's way easier for us to come and service your system than for a company that is out of town. And that's a huge thing. We've been recognized in this community with great reviews, with the Santa Barbara Independent, with other people throughout this community, and it's really um, like a third party show of that we can be trusted. We have been in business for the last 11 years now, and we don't plan to go anywhere else. Um, and that's why we think that you should consider a local company. Okay, so I'm at the end of this presentation. Once again, we are going to be at Earth Day with Unite to Light. Please come see us at our booth. If you have any questions or if you want to schedule a site visit, you have our office phone number here. You have our email address. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And now I'm opening the floor to any questions that you may have. Thank you so much.
And you can drop questions in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand, we can unmute your mic. There's only a few of us, so we can take questions.
Yeah.
About anything. Any questions? No?
Is there anything? I cannot see the chat, so is there anything in the chat in particular?
No,
Okay.
nothing in the chat.
Okay. So I must have been pretty clear. That's good.
Yeah. Did great, Jeremy. Really wanted to thank you all for being here and considering going solar. Again, I'm just stuck in this Bill McKibben lecture last night. He's got a new book about everybody going solar and how important it is. And you know, the cost of solar panels are coming down. Storage has gotten better and better, and I think this is really an opportunity for all of us, not just to be resilient for ourselves, but also to do our part and be a global citizen, and make that switch to solar, make the switch to the power of the sun, which I think is just a beautiful, beautiful thing, and also saves our sanity and saves our pocketbooks. So win-win all around. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you so
If
much,
anybody has,
everyone.
yeah, and we'll send this. I think Maureen and Jeremy recorded this, so I think we'll send it around to everybody after this call. And then again, if you've got questions, feel free to reach out to Jeremy directly or Brighton directly, or if you want to reach out to me, happy to do it. I'm not necessarily in the solar business anymore, but I could probably do some damage. Oh yeah, sounds like there's a question. No, maybe not. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks again, everybody. Really appreciate it. Hope to see you all at Earth Day this weekend. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Megan.